Extraordinary. Peacock vibes. Extraordinary. There's a wild and impetuous uniqueness to you that deserves to be honored. Let me say it louder for the bitches in the back. There's a wild and impetuous uniqueness to you that deserves to be honored. Welcome to Healing Hype Man. Message of the day, short and sweet, because I'm short and sweet. I'm going to Google what impetuous means. Ready? Acting or done quickly and without thought or care. Exactly how I started this. Because I being myself. There's a wild and acting on impulse. Maybe we should talk about impulse control. Impetuous uniqueness, which means I act without impulse. To you that deserves to be honored. That's very Gemini-ian. At the same time, I'm a Gemini everything. I'm a Gemini rising, Venus, Mercury, Chiron in the first. Whip up. So I'm here to, let's talk about this. Let's talk about showing up, right? Authenticity is definitely a topic of conversation that I love to dabble into. And in my clinical work, it is surrounded around identity. Listen, so I also understand that if there is anger, if there is something that needs forgiveness, that automatically tells my analytical mind that if there is forgiveness that's needed, that means that there is also anger and sadness there, which then also means that we are suppressing who we actually are because anger and sadness are outweighing our authenticity, our identity, right? So there's so much more to unpack when someone asks you a question, like when we're talking on just a topic of like forgiveness. I know that there's sadness, there's anger. I'm repeating myself again. There's something that needs to be explored. There's a version of you that you have been suppressing. So I wonder where this is going with us right here, right? Perhaps this is a time for you to kind of step into that and step into what? Step into being you. Step into showing up a certain way, right? Jupiter in Gemini is now direct. I'm hesitating because I don't want to misspeak here. Baby, don't you go ahead. Yes, it is. I'm singing too. Yeah, it's not retrograde anymore. Ooh, epa. Right. So what does that mean? What does that mean? Well, look at your Gemini chart. See what's up for you there. See where you have Gemini in your chart. Jupiter expands things. Jupiter right now it's moving forward. So the planet that was intended to expand things as it transits through that house essentially is now going in that direct motion. So something that might have been held back in expanding in your life very well can be. And part of that very well can be your identity. It can be your authenticity, right? Identity comes with a lot there to unpack. So I will allow you to kind of do your own homework in that here. And then I'm thinking of peacock. I'm seeing the peacock spirit. Peacock spirit can be, we have two caveats. One, it can be a distraction, right? The feathers going up to distract you is one way to view a peacock spirit. The other component is I'm going to show you what I got so that you can essentially want to mate with me, right? It's a call, perhaps showing up authentically. This is my call to YouTube, the world of YouTube, once again, to find those like-minded individuals that really like to talk about authenticity, exploring their authentic vibes, exploring their identity, finding a place for like-minded individuals to come together and connect about things that we talk about here, metaphysical, scientific, or philosophical, astrological, tarot, and mental health concepts from the science side, right? Try to incorporate those things. Our identity, our personality. Astrology is nothing but patterns and behaviors put into a chart. I love patterns and behaviors, even in clinical work. I'm looking at your patterns. Astrology can show you patterns potentially about yourself that very well might be active, and you look at that, at the validity of it by looking back and saying, actually, yes, now that I look back in time, at this time and date, this was actually going on in my life. So perhaps you may be aligned more than you think by looking back at previous transits that were taking place that very well can align you with saying, hey, so if this is our patterns and behaviors that could likely happen in my life, how can I utilize it to my advantage, right? Maybe it's showing me and guiding me into spaces that I very well should be in or would benefit in being in, or may very well fit in better than the ones that are pushing up against societal expectations and social norms that I'm not fitting in well with here, right? So if you are somebody who pushes up against societal expectations and unconventional thinking, and you'd like to see the world through a different set of eyes, or you do see the world through a different set of eyes and you don't have that platform in order to find it, right? Your hopes, your wishes, and your dreams are definitely achievable. Welcome to Healing Hype Man. My name is Alvin. Let's vibe together. Now, what about this? Tell me about this. Give us a message here. Let's pull some tarot. Page of Swords, okay. King, we like the King of Wands, don't we? And the Ten of Cups. What do I see here? First of all, the most courageously, authentically, I would say courageous and confident, dashing gentleman is being presented here, along with the feminine energy of being curious, right? There is very well can be a curiosity in your mind of here's a good question. What does my confidence look like? How do I want to show up in the world? Right? Will my confidence bring me to happiness? I can say that we're constantly changing, and there's different versions of ourselves that we go through. And the more that you can shed old versions of yourself, the more that you can then show up differently, right? So exploring confidence, exploring your leadership-like qualities, right? Here's the question that I probe to you. How would you handle power? The concept there is trying to see if someone's going to say, do you say, "Oh, power, I would be rich and I would get all the money in the world and bring it to me," right? Or would it be, "Oh, if I had power, I'd make an impact in the world by doing this, this, and this," right? You want to see if someone's going to be responsible with power or if someone is going to be manipulative with power here, right? Why do I probe that question? It's just to see what your beliefs are around power here. And also ask those same questions. And like, how do I want to show up? How would I lead people if I could? If I'm the leader of this group, how would you do it differently? Right? I would assume most of us have some sort of like path, career, or job, or hobby that we're on, right? How would you lead that with nothing in your way and no barriers of any kind? How would you lead that, right? What creative ideas would you step into? Here, what I can also say is some of you are really curious about, what your leadership qualities are like. Would I show up like this at work? Hell fucking yeah. Because I found a profession that allows me to be this version of myself. You see how I am not, you see how demure I am. I flow with what works best for me. I'm allowed to show up like this. I can show up like this as a sole business owner, one for Healing Hype Man, and as a mental health therapist where I help people explore and unpack their identity, right? It's all about relatability, right? You're not going to want to talk about, relationship issues with, this 65-year-old white woman who's never been married before, right? Or if you're a Latino and you want a Latino male, or if you have certain topics that you want relatability with, right? Like I found a place that fits my uniqueness. So, right. So that's how would I lead that? How would you lead that? What curious questions do you have about your leadership qualities, right? We're seeing happiness, we're seeing joy, we're seeing abundance, we're seeing fulfillment here. Give me another card into this, please, and thank you. Give me another card into this. Just going on a whim here too. Oh, change. the death card. Endings bring new beginnings. Oh my God, for some of you, there definitely is a new version of you that's coming in. That has definitely been the topic of conversation. I would even say that there is a new version of you that is here to stay. A new version of you that is being pulled apart, that is coming together. It is around leadership qualities. It is around attaining your power, getting your power back, reclaiming your power. Stop devaluing yourself in front of other people. If you notice you tend to do that, put yourself back on that pedestal. And then what are you going to do when you're on that pedestal? How are you going to lead from that pedestal? Right? My analytical mind goes, I wonder if you're going to go down the manipulative route, if you're going to go down the responsible route. Do you trust yourself in making those right decisions? Death implies new beginnings. Self implies others. Black implies white. There's always two aspects to it. So transitions, things ending in your life, something being created, right? I'm not even going to say something's ending in your life. I'm going to say something is being created. We're talking about extraordinary, your unique self that deserves to be honored. Some of us feel like we're weird. Just had a conversation with a client. I am weird. My first go-to when someone calls themselves weird is, how do you perceive weird? Does it have a positive connotation or a negative connotation? Because how we perceive or define something is not the same to everyone else. Now, I like the word weird. I've already talked about this before. I like the word weird, and I don't have a negative connotation with the word weird. And if you do, then I'm sorry that's the experience that you've gone through, where weird equals negative, weird equaled bad, weird equals alone, because that's not the case. They're just not at the capacity where they can understand and comprehend intellectually what your interests are. What is it that you like? We are not meant for everyone. Perfectionism. No. According to whose standards, it is going to lead you to disappointment. Really being curious about your creative spark, your creative mind, your leadership qualities, how you take action. And there is something here that is changing, that is bringing you to happiness. Honor that. My name is Alvin Catalan. I'm present. I'm done speaking now.